Hello everyone. I'm going to open the newest Advent of Code website in a second and look at the questions together with you. So, we are parsing terminal output today. That's interesting. Today's Advent of Code appears to be more involved. All right. Let's start with pasting this text into Lamdu. I know that per the usual, you're going to split over lines. And you know what? We're going to split over lines and the $LS thing. That much. Let's turn on the evaluation results. And yeah, let's call this Advent 7 example input. Take it outside and let's just look at an array of these. All right. I don't know what this dir a means in the output of ls. Let's read it in the instructions. So looks like this ls either says the size of the file, or if it's a directory, it says dir. And it also appears that this log recursively lists over everything, but let's see if that's what the instruction says. Okay, so we're counting directories' recursive sizes. So what am I going to do? This is not just how to use Lamdu, this is actually a programming challenge today. So maybe we should iterate over the lines and keep some state in a stack. So actually, let's not split over this, let's split over lines. And we'll just collect the answer in a fold. So that means that we are, first of all, we're collecting the end result, which is, should be the sum of the total sizes of directories with size at most 100,000. All right, so anyhow, we're summing these. We should start with 0 as the total sum. Let's call it total. And then we want to keep track of the current directory we're at, what's going on there. Basically, what we care about in the directory would be its size, but also it would be like a list of sizes. Let's start with the let's start with an empty array, I suppose. We should have in the future like a literal array syntax, which we don't at the moment. And but we should. And each time we cd here, we first starting with ls, which adds the files and then the directories to be iterated on. So suppose we're actually ignoring the first cd slash, because that's kind of like sorry, after the split I want to drop the first one, or also tail would be the same, I suppose. Do we have tail? No. Drop 1. And also instead of this drop, I'm going to ignore all the lines that don't start with a number and are not cd or cd dot dot. Let's do that. Let's take it to a let item just to see the results there. I'm going to filter over text, and I'm going to take an array of it. Right, so just so we see the results. So if I do true, we get the whole array. But what I want to do is text is not $cd slash. I'm going to ignore this first one. And and text is not ls. What I said, text, is not slash equals, yeah, I don't know what I pressed before, open parentheses ls, and I don't know why I have this question mark here, but let's delete it. Not ls, I want $ls. So I filtered those now, and I have slightly cleaner. Dear is what I want. Yeah, I don't want a text that starts with dear as well. So let's do and, not starts with. We have prefix of, no, starts with. Okay, let's implement starts with for a text. So it starts with text and prefix equals. So basically, I'll do text dot text to look at the bytes representing it, and we'll take a slice from 0 to the length of the bytes, which are the prefix dot text. That equals prefix dot text. Yes, this would be starts with, and not starts with. And you see how it looks like this? We actually want it as an operator. So let's change it to be from verbose mode in operator mode. Okay, so not text starts with. I'm going to ignore the line that starts with dear. Right. So what do we have? We have some sizes from some files. We have CDs, and we have CD dot dots, which is exactly what we want. Here. And I want to iterate over them. So yeah, let's inline it here. So I'm actually going to start with a single in the root directory. I'm going to sum over the count, the size of the directory. And each item I encounter, I would increase this sum. Right. So what I want to do is so there's, depending on the item, if item dot starts with dollar space CD, CD, yeah, in space, then we do something. Otherwise, we're going to expect that the item is a file. So we're going to let's split the item on space and sorry, not item in string, item. Yeah, it's late in the evening here. I'm not also my face is getting in the way. Let me make myself smaller. Yes, okay. So, by the way, if anyone has a suggestion on how I should solve it better, feel free to comment. Right. So R at 0 is a number, and I want to parse it. into a number, and I want to add it to this to the state we are producing. Yeah, so let's do from array to our array, which is the it's car, and I'll expect it to be a non-empty list. I'll ignore the empty case, and I want to make a new array. Granted, this would be nicer in a mutable style. I'm not sure how to best make it into a mutable form. I guess I would educate myself from other solutions. I will see to this problem in functional languages and learn from those. But for now, we're just going to unpack and repack the array every time. Yeah, so we will we need to produce a new state. Right, first of all. That's true. So let's start with this. We are producing a new state. Total is going to be the same as it was because we haven't finished. We haven't left the directory. We will check the current directory only when there's cd ... or at the very end. Yeah. So what we'll do is regarding car, it would be this x, and here I will do a to array of the same tail, right? And I will do num plus head. Okay, so now we see when we go to the next row, we have an animation bug in Lamdu. So let me give you some data on the internals. So we have our own to do all these nice animations. So if I extract it, it goes, I don't know if it passes along on YouTube with the frame rate and streaming and everything, but we have pretty slick animations if I turn off the annotations. And hopefully these animations help you follow what's going on screen. It helps when people program together, when there's structural things happening, when it's not as obvious as a normal text editing. When the layout changes automatically, we thought it's important to have animations. It's part of why we have this custom UI framework. And to support that, anything we see here has a unique identity. And what we just saw in the value annotations was a bug. And our framework added these X's to let us know that there is a bug, there's a clash in their identities. So I will have to debug this later. And it's also hard to see. Oh, it's only when I'm on here with the cursor. Okay, so now I can see. So if I'm here and I press Alt up and down, I can see the states. So the first file added this to the car, and then the second one added its own value to the current, and then we have CDA, and we need to address this case here. So I will do this. If if item equals cd dot dot, actually, it takes time to evaluate with the annotation results. This would be how I would usually edit code, and the evaluation results won't change the layout as I type. So dollar space cd space dot dot. With the evaluation results, yeah, until it runs and they appear, the layout changes, and that's admittedly funky. We should keep a state and not make them disappear as fast. Yeah. So let's turn them on again and see. The first CD didn't reach this branch, it's in the else. So actually I don't care what the name of the directory is for this problem description. So what I'm going to do is just the total is the same total as it was. Let's choose total. But car, I'm just going to add a new 0 here. Right, we're just starting this directory, and yeah. So after CDA, we have a new file, and after it, it's summed into car. It's a bit small. If I'm on it, no, actually I can't make it big. That's also something to consider. Yeah, but those, you don't see the small font probably, but these are summed into car. And now we have to deal with the cd dot dot. Okay, so this is the interesting part. So so I'm going to unpack from array of car. I'm going to unpack it. It's not going to be empty. And then we're going to have the next step. So we have if head is smaller than how much? Smaller or equal than 100,000. So 144000000. Yeah, with the looks like it's not so smooth with all of the value annotations in this case. Past few days, advent of codes were actually so pleasant with Lamdu. This one, I'm finding some bugs again. And this is part of why I'm doing this, because I'm one of the developers in Lamdu, and eating our own dog food is important. So we want to sum it into the total in this case, plus head. Otherwise, we're not going to change total. Now, we're also going to sum the head into the list, right? Into the next item. So this was going to be, let's also evaluate the tail and unpack it. And now I'm going to make two array of, so I'm going to do head 0 plus head 1 with the same tail. All right. And this should, let's close starts with and turn on evaluation again. And yeah, we end up with some total and state, which is kind of strange because I expected it to do CD out of all of the, oh, it doesn't do CD out of all the directories. Okay, so it ends up in some directory. It's cool. So then what we want to do is we want to sum the each directory into the total, basically. So I'm going to do so I extracted this into a let item, and yeah, and these things are called total 0 and car 0. Let's go to the next hole. And the answer at the end is going to be total 0 plus something. Plus what? So I'm going to take car 0, turn it into a list from array, and I'm going to fold over it again. So this is from the innermost to the outermost. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm not going to just use it like this. Okay, let's put a record here. And it doesn't fit because I added this fold. It should be a sum because I summed it with total, right? So let's delete this question mark and it will push the error elsewhere, right? So it can't use the results of the fold because it produces a record, and something will be needed to do to convert it into a number. So actually we're going to sum stuff into here. So let's do total will be total 0, and I will do this instead of summing to total because we're going to sum anyhow. And yeah, and the current directory we're in, let's do value 0, right? Now let's do this. Yeah, again, we're gonna do, let's do this. Yeah, let's do, maybe I'm using the name car too much. Anyhow, this one is going to be car 2 plus, we can also change the name after the fact, plus the item. And then this will be the new card, right? But this would be if car 3 is smaller than, actually let's take the number 100,000 and we call it limit and extract it outside. This also, okay, let's go to the next hole. Yeah, so if this is smaller or equal than limit, then we'll do total 2 plus car 3. This is what happens when I don't name variables or give them the same names. Otherwise, we're going to do the same total 2. And then from this fold, we just want the total at the end. So dot, yeah. And the suggestions, when it opens up, you know, are the fields it has, total and car, and we'll just use total. And, you know, it's a lot of code. Let's remove the annotations. And extract it into a function. Right, so let's take advent, yeah, let's use a variable instead. So not use the advent 7th example. And all of this, I'm extracting, sorry, everything with a limit. I'm extracting, yeah, I'm calling it advent, advent 7. It's going to take an input, and I'm going to give it input here, right? And advent, and I'm going to give advent 7 my example input. And now let's turn on the evaluation. So, and the answer is 95437, And yeah, that 95437, that's also the result. Yeah, so let's try it with our own input, I guess, right? Let's close this, let's make this Advent 7 my input and paste the input here. And is the answer 158, 158, 1595? Yes, okay. Let's see what part 2 is. Okay, find the smallest directory that would free enough space for the update. So they're saying I need to find the smallest directory that is larger than this 30 million example. Okay, so let's go back to the example input. And we need the size of the smallest directory that is more than that. Okay, let's add an option called part 2. And let's first Advent 7 example input part 2 false. Let's first kind of add the basic support for this. So basically the only thing that changes here is the total. Yeah. What if instead of this total, we actually collected all of the directory sizes that we stumbled upon on the way, and then we do the final calculation using that. Right, so instead of this total field, actually it's not something I got to do so much in Lamdu. I'm deleting a field, and let's add another one, and we call it DIRs, directories, and give this name an abbreviation, DIRs. Right, and this DIRs, I'm going to make it into an empty list. And here, what happens? So what you see here is what we see here is like an open record thing. I don't want it, but what you see here is that it's the DIRs and it should be the totals. Let's see what happens if I delete this and I have a lot of errors elsewhere. Yeah, let's, instead of the totals over here, let's also delete the total field here, and I'll make this into a whole. So what this means, this tilde, is that we're expanding this car array with record with something. So we're actually like extending a record. And okay, that's, we have another car here. Let's delete this total here as well. Okay, now let's see if I can, there's somewhere else. Oh, in the way that we use it, we also use its total field. Right, so let's not use it. So it wouldn't know there's a total. Right, now there's nothing making this into a type error. Now here, it wants a deers field, right? Yeah, let's add the deers field here. And now it's not a type error. And also here. I don't know if there would be a better way to propagate that. So we're just gonna have deers is the same as it was. And in the case of entering a directory, it's also the same as it was. It's only in this case that we're exiting a directory, and what was the head is going to be added to it, right? I think so. So we have those. Let's keep collecting the deers with the remaining stuff. No, actually, it was a good fold. We're still gonna use this car, right? And the limit now, we'll use it later. It will come into play later, so let's put it there, good code style. So, yeah, actually we're not gonna have a total field. What we are going to have is a deers field, right? So let's do this and not use the total at the end. So this is not a type error anymore. And we'll start with deers being deers. And then deers, yeah, let's complete it. And deers will be car 3 and deers. Yeah, so now we have at the end we have the directories, and we're just gonna take them dot deers, and then I'm going to do this. If it's part 2, then something, but first part 1. So we'll filter those that are smaller or equals than 100,000, and we will sum over them. Let's see if that still works. Enable the value annotations. Oh. Oh, we didn't know part 2 was a Boolean, and that's considered a type error. So yeah, we have the same result as before. And basically in part 2, all you want to do is pretty simple. We want the maximum of maximum returns a maybe. I'm going to unpack it and assume there's a value. Okay, don't judge me. but this is advent of code. I'm assuming valid inputs. And yeah, again, we're going to, was it the maximum or the minimum? We wanted the minimum of the large files. So instead of maximum, we'll do minimum of, again, we're going to filter, list.filter, filter. Num should be bigger than 30 million, right? Num bigger or equal than, 30 million. Yes. So now let's see in part 2. Aha, I did it wrong. Because we need to calculate how much space needs to be freed. So they're saying there's a total size of the space, and okay, so we need to see what is the outermost one. Let's let's turn this into an array to make it easy to access. And let's push the type error elsewhere. Where? Here. So from array. Let's first do part 1. Just from array will do. Also here, from array will do, but not 30 million. We'll do. We'll calculate the limit. We'll compare to this limit. I will turn off value annotation so the layout doesn't change so much. I'll call this limit, and it will be 70 million minus r at 0, which should be the top level and largest directory. And let's turn the value annotations again. Now the answer is 24. Yeah, it's the same as this one. So looks like we're done. So I'll just change it to advent7 my input. My answer is 37072768. 37072768. Submit. Not the right answer. Okay, so that's some drama. We can look into what happened. And in the end, we had an array of folder sizes. And, oh, no. Oh, right, I did it wrong. We need to add, this is how much free space we have, but we want it, we want, it's not limit, let's call it free space. And here we want to use limit. So, and limit, you know, it's we need 30 million minus free space. Isn't that right? Let's turn on 30 minus free space. And it's funny, the example was confusing in this case, because if I omit this question, I still get the same answer. And why is that? If we go to the end, I don't know if I should extract things into functions from within. So we see this is the actual limit we need, but the smallest directory that is above that is the same as the one above the free space. Aha, tricky. So let's use my input. Okay, and now I have a different answer. And it told me the one before is too high. 1544 176. Yes, this is the right answer. Yeah, so this was the advent of code number 7. This one was more difficult than yesterday. What is this painting getting to be? We'll get to see as we progress on. So, see you same time